Hello, welcome back to another recording made by Shishioken Haku. Continuing from the previous discussion on pro wrestling, WWE is the entry promotion to the big professional wrestling, but it's not the best. The reason is because it has too many talents and roster with little screen time. Even when split into 5 different shows or 6, some will most likely underperform than others. And WWE is known for burying indie favorites, which means talented wrestlers who originated from somewhere else end up not getting the enough attention and treatment that they deserve. And that's normal when you change between different companies. It's just like changing jobs between a part-time from one restaurant to another. Your previous restaurant's reputation wouldn't really affect too much, but on your next occupation's performance. But because of that and the little referbacks, some of the wrestlers struggle. For example, one of the best technical wrestlers out there is called Ricochet. And he has a lot of high-risk, high reward moves, but because his physique is smaller, faster, more technical, and WWE is the more of the brawling type of promotion, you don't see him in the top card. After a brief run as a champion, a secondary title, he's now relegated to undercard or lower mid-card. And that also applies to my favorite wrestler who is currently wrestling in WWE. His name is Kevin Owens. He's quite overweight, but don't let his luck fool you. He can do high flying maneuvers. He actually done some in a few of his matches, and he has done quite a lot during his indie days. He now adopts the Stone Cold Stunner, which he just calls it Stunner, which is still impactful even though he has recently made his heel turn back to his original the prize fighter gimmick. And regardless of him being face or heel, he's quite an enjoyable wrestler. Complains a lot, sometimes being a hypocrite, but he gets the job done, and he's overall very entertaining. A little fun fact about Kevin Owens is that he's from Quebec, the French-speaking pop community of Canada. He grew up in the French family. His real name is called Kevin Steen. And he said it several times during an interview outside of his character, he learned English by watching professional wrestling. It's just like saying, Joe right here, he doesn't really know Japanese, but he learned a lot from watching J-drama or listening to Showa pop songs, and self-taught himself Japanese. It's kind of like the same situation. It's very disappointing that Kevin Owens, after being pushed for several weeks for January 1st's WWE Day 1 pay-per-view as a top heel of the show, he's sidelined because Brock Lesnar could have faced Roman Reigns for the Universal title belt. Brock Lesnar isn't a bad character with his current gimmick right now, but he's notorious of using his backstage politics power to influence the card, the outcome of each wrestling card. So kudos to Brock, but it's not something that most of us would enjoy, let alone be satisfied with the outcome. Who else do I appreciate from WWE? Well, in SmackDown, that would be Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, his court jester, even though he's no longer the king under the king gimmick. But Nakamura is just like his Japan days. He does his strong style-esque wrestlings and does his Kinshasa, which is kind of like a super kick, but he has to charge it before he kind of somewhat stomps or kicks you. And Rick Boogs is a very entertaining jester-esque character. NXT 2.0, there's a lot of new prospects that I actually see a lot of hope in. But when compared to the Black and Gold brand, its predecessor, it's nothing close, but I still enjoy it because even though it fluctuates a lot, they're doing quite a good job of retheming NXT and have its character being relevant and not fluctuate with the 50-50 booking in the main roster. NXT UK, Walter from Imperium. Also Ilya Dragunov, because the Soviet-esque theme music. Even though I like to watch NXT UK from time to time because they provide me some tutorial lessons in how to speak in a more crude and vulgar British accent. Like Pete Dunne says, I'm the baddest man in NXT. Undefeated. It's a very bad rendition of a Pete Dunne imitation. It sounds more like Gallus, Jordan Devlin, maybe even the Grizzled Young Veterans. But so be it. In terms of its competition right now, it's most likely going to be AEW. But even though AEW is what NXT Black and Gold was originally going to strive for and failed, even though it successfully pulled off as the top promotion for the indie hearts and indie fans. But the thing is, after that success against NXT, AEW just become a bit more lackluster as they kept on signing big names from WWE, and AEW is slowly being transforming. It's slowly transforming itself to be the second WWE. It's not a bad thing, but just look what happened to WCW, being over reliant on WWF superstars, and after all, it's seen as a doppelganger. Didn't really wish AEW to become like that because the style is different and also the management is way different. But this AEW is starting several shows per week, just like WWE. Yeah, that seems to be a problem. But that's it for closing up WWE and briefly talking about AEW. Next time, when I touch on professional wrestling, I'll be talking about other promotions and maybe other personnels that I've recently picked on or watched. It could be Impact, New Japan Pro Wrestling Noah, All Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, Impact TNA, CMLL, AAA, etc. It's to be determined, I would say. Thank you all for today, and I'll see you next time. To close off, I will show you some clips that I do not own, but is related to my idol in WWE currently, Kevin Owens. Yeah, I couldn't show too much, but that's all for today. Shishogen Haku off.